Today we're going to be learning about how to create our own self-portrait, but we're going to turn ourselves into superheroes. So there's 2 stages to this artwork. Step 1 is to think of a costume that you think would be a really awesome costume for a superhero. And step 2, we're going to be learning about portraits and how to create our face onto our superhero body. So first we're going to start with the body, and then we'll move on to the face and looking at portraits and how we can create our face realistically to fit onto our body of our superhero. Let's get started.
So you can see here that this is my quick sketch of a superhero costume. I have ensured that I have got shoes, that I've got pants, a shirt, and also the most important part is some type of symbol in the center of my piece. So I've done an S for superhero. You can choose any symbol you like, and you might even like to use the initials of your name. I've also done an exciting cape at the background there, and I've ensured that I've left space for my head, which will go up here later on. Okay, so you need to make sure that you've got the collar of the top and the shirt and pants, or you can choose whatever it is you'd like to do because everyone's should be slightly different because it's your design, okay? Okay, so this is the watercolor paint I'm going to be using now. It doesn't look very good, but this paint is actually really good quality paint. It is Brilliant Watercolors, the Kono from the Czech Republic. These watercolors are my absolute all-time favorite paints. But there are lots of different types of watercolor paints that you can use, and I'm sure depending upon the type of paint you have will still give you a similar effect. So I've got 2 palettes here, and I'll be using these to paint my piece. Now I've got some different sized paintbrushes because I know that these parts are going to be a little thinner. I might need a smaller brush. With the larger areas, I could use something a little bigger like this. And with the really, really, really small parts, I've got an even smaller paintbrush here.
Got my picture and I've just started to draw a neck so that I know where my head is going to fit, and then I'll line it up with the next blank sheet of paper above it so that I know how big my head's going to be. Now these characters are going to have larger heads than the bodies. They're going to slightly look like bobble heads. So it might look a little bit strange, but they're going to look really great in the end because those faces are the key to our work, because at the end of the day we are focusing on portraits. So to start off with portraits, we need to know where the facial features are going to go. So what's on our face? We need eyes, eyebrows, nose, mouth, ears, and of course hair. There's other little parts to our face that we do need to add, but they are the main features that we're going to focus on during the portrait piece. So the first thing I think you should do is divide your page, or get your circle part going so that you've got the right shape to your face. Then divide your page, your face in half, 1 line down the middle, 1 line about 1/3 of the way down, and another line about another 1/3 of the way down. Now these lines here help us to identify where the facial features are going to go. So on this line here, we are going to start by drawing in our eyes. In the middle on this strip here, we're going to do half a nose and half a nose, and that nose will end at that line. In the middle of this section here is where our mouth will fit. And these lines are actually really helpful because in between here, that is exactly where our ears will fit. So I'm going to draw that in now for you, and I'll show you once that's completed. Okay, so you can see that I have sketched in the eyes, the eyebrows, the nose and the mouth, and I put them exactly where I said before on those correct lines. The next step is to think about hair, And remember, the hair doesn't sit up here on top, it sits actually on our head, so the hairline is going to be going through here. The other thing we need to add now is a little bit more detail into our eyes and our ears. Inside our ears, there's some little lines that are in the crevices of our ears so that we can add those details. The other part is our eyelids, our eyelashes, and our eyeballs. We can add all of those parts in now to make them a little bit more detailed, and then this face will be almost ready to be coloured and glued onto our superhero body. Good luck, guys! Okay, so I've now added all those extra details into my piece, and this one is now ready to be painted. So once you've got your eyes with the extra detail here, your nose, I've added some cheekbones and also some expression lines where I'm smiling, and my hair. You'll notice that I've outlined my hair and not coloured it in with my grey lead, because that will help us to paint in between those lines. Now you guys are ready to get started on painting your face here. Now there's a couple of choices. We can paint, or we can use markers or coloured pencils. So today I'm going to be using watercolour paint, and I'll be using markers as well. Okay, so I've rubbed out all of the lines that were across the face, and now I'm ready to start painting. I'm using watercolour paints, and these paints are a really good quality watercolour. And remember that when you're using watercolour, that we need to use water and paint. If we don't use enough water, the colours will not come out. If we use too much water, the colours will be very, very light. If we use not much water, the colours will be very, very dark. Let's get started.